Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another discussion video. So yesterday I did an info and thoughts video where I talked about an official EA survey that surfaced a couple of years ago. One of the things on said survey was on campus as an expansion pack, and I wanted to talk about another idea that was put on there. So there's this one called Sims 4 Winter Vacation, where it says winter's cold has arrived, and it's time to take your Sims for a wintry vacation in The Sims 4 Winter Vacation. Choose your favorite winter accommodations, then venture outside to build a snowman or have a snowball fight. Go snowboarding and compete for medals, or take a leisurely stroll through the mountains to see what you can uncover. Choose your lodging. Settle into your winter escape by choosing to rent a snowy winter cabin, a family-friendly vacation home, or live it up in a hotel complete with room service. Play in the snow. Take your Sims out to enjoy the snow. Build a snowman, make snow angels, or challenge your friends to a snowball fight. Go snowboarding. Take to the halfpipe and show off your snowboarding skills. Sign up for the snowboarding competition to go for gold and earn prizes. And explore the mountains. Strap on your snowshoes for a relaxing stroll through the snow-covered mountains. Follow animal tracks, discover caves, and maybe come across the rumored snow yeti. How likely would you be to purchase the Winter Vacation expansion pack if it became available for £29.99, or basically translating into $40 US? I thought this one in particular was an interesting pack idea to bring up because when this survey first surfaced, it was a couple of years ago. We did not have seasons yet, so there was a lot of concern that they were going to chop seasons up into different packs. But thankfully now, we know that was not the case. They actually did put all the seasons into one expansion pack, even though they didn't put all the pets into the pets expansion pack. But yeah, so it is kind of interesting just looking at this idea again, because now we do have seasons. We just could maybe use a winter destination. I think that could be interesting. I don't think that this is something that we would be getting anytime soon, and I don't want it that soon anyways, because right now I want more content that blends into everyday gameplay instead of another isolated experience. But maybe in a couple years, that would be a really good time to bring out something like this. Though if they do a pack like this, there is still the whole sort of My First Pet stuff issue, where it's, even though they did give us all the seasons in one pack, it's just like, oh really, you're charging extra for a winter destination? But I think there is a way that they could pull it off, so they're not ripping off the people who already bought seasons, but still want a little bit more to do with it. And I can think of a way that they could do it so that you don't need seasons to just like enjoy the bulk of the pack. And I do disagree with the idea of making Winter Vacation a whole expansion pack though. I feel like that is stretching it a little too far, especially considering we only get 2 expansion packs per year at most. This feels like, would this make sense to have as just one of these 2 releases a year? I mean, it would make a lot of sense to release a pack like it in November just before snow starts falling on the ground, where at least in the places that do start getting snow around that time. But I do think that they could make it so that if you do not have seasons installed but you get Winter Vacation, then you would still have snow on the ground, but it would be pretty static, like how it was in The Sims Vacation, where part of that island, some of the lots are a winter destination too, and it's just the snow is on the ground all the time. There's no snowstorms or anything, the snow never melts or anything like that, so you could just have it like that, where the snow is less interesting because you won't have the chance of getting blizzards or heavy snow and just the possibility of the snow melting. But then if you do have seasons, then you could have that varying weather and also an added layer of difficulty because if you make your Sims ski or snowboard in a blizzard, then there could be a chance that they fall, maybe badly hurt themselves, or even die if they get caught in an avalanche. I know they did not mention skiing in the survey, but if they want to do a full-on expansion pack just about winter vacations, then they better not just stop at snowboarding. Some of us ski too, you know. I know snowboarding seems like the cooler sport, but skiing is also a thing and should not be forgotten. I do like the ideas that they have for snowboarding though, because I love the snowboard half-pipe in The Sims 1 and in The Sims 3, and I love how in The Sims 3 you could customize your Sims snowboard. If they would do a full expansion pack for this, I think it would be really neat if they did a create a snowboard mode where it could be kind of like with Create a Pet, except separate from Create a Sim and Create a Pet, and you could customize your snowboard and draw on it and everything. And yeah, same with the skis too, because I want skis. But I also think that they should do it so that there isn't just a half pipe. If you go to, I guess it would be a new world, where you have this ski resort, then there should be a slope that your Sims can go down. It doesn't have to be a really, really super tall one, but at least a decent length. And that would be out in the public space, of course, because the lots really aren't big enough to support something like that. But yeah, at least have that out in the world, and then you could still place the snowboard half pipe on your lots if you want to. But I do love their idea of having competitions on the half pipe. That's something that we didn't have in the previous Sims games. And I do think it should be expanded upon further too, because maybe you could have a work from home career as a professional athlete, specifically as a snowboarder or a skier. Maybe you could actually be a new branch for the base game athletic career instead of it being its own separate thing. And then if you want to, you can go into the rabbit hole for the day. But then with the work from home tasks, maybe then you can have your Sims practice snowboarding or skiing on the slopes or on the half pipe, and maybe work out a bit more with other like exercise equipment to build up their fitness skill and other tasks like that. With the play in the snow point, we have all of those things in Seasons. Build a snowman, make snow angels, and snowball fights. I am not 100% sure whether that should still be restricted to Seasons owners only, or if it should be also enabled for people who would have winter vacation. But I guess it's okay to have that enabled for just people who own winter vacation and not Seasons. It's still not losing a ton of activities that were in Seasons. There's still a lot of other content in that expansion pack, and there's still other stuff in winter that you can have, like the holidays, that would still be Seasons exclusive. I find the choose your lodging points pretty interesting, because now we've also had our Tropical Paradise pack, Island Living, and we did not get hotels in those. But I think hotels would fit in winter vacation a little bit better than in Island Living, because in Island Living, they did this world of Sulani where it's just not really sensible to me to have this really big 5-star resort that's towering over this more off-the-grid like community, and would conflict with the environmental message that they sent with that pack. So only lower end hotels and maybe B&Bs would have worked well, in my opinion, in Island Living. But I think all ranges of resorts would work in a winter setting. You could have these cabins that are more low end, maybe even off the grid. But then I could imagine there being a really fancy ski resort that you can choose to stay at. If you really want to spoil yourself, you could integrate spa day into it if you want to. Yeah, I think there's a lot more flexibility there that would make sense in the context of the theme of the pack. I love that they mention room service as well, because I love that feature in The Sims 2 Bon Voyage. They also mention vacation homes, and I think it would be really nice to buy those, because I wish we could have a vacation home that we actually own in Granite Falls or Selva Dorada. And it did just make me think about that they might do a vacation world in a whole expansion pack instead of a game pack. I'm not sure how well that would go over with the community, but I guess if they made this as fleshed out as I want it to be, maybe it would be worth it. It would be nice to be able to live in the world full time, just have a few extra, just normal residential lots. But I think they would probably already take up a lot of space with just the lots that you need for a vacation. Because I would want a decent number of accommodation choices, because we could have the 5-star resort, we could have 2 or 3 of the log cabins that would be low end, and then I think there should be at least 3 or 4 vacation homes, and also just a resort that maybe is kind of middle of the line, so the lot numbers add up pretty fast. And lately they've been doing smaller worlds, nothing like the size of Windenburg. So to rein in my expectations a little bit and be more realistic, no, this probably would be a pure vacation world, not a world that you can live in all the time. Before I move on to the last point, I think it would be a really great idea if it was possible to at least run the resorts. And maybe since they would want to include the ability to purchase vacation homes, then maybe there could also be the option for Sims to be allowed to rent out the winter cabins to other Sims so they can make some money that way. And then the last point, with the Explore the Mountains, I do like the ideas that are presented here too. I like the idea of snowshoeing and just having a relaxing stroll, and being able to follow animal tracks, discover caves, and also the return of Bigfoot, I guess, with the Snow Yeti. Just a slightly different version, I guess. But I do hope that you could also actually find animals instead of just following their tracks. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of animals, but at the very least, some deer and some moose would be great. Oh, and I can't believe I almost forgot about the penguin from The Sims 2. This would be a really great opportunity to bring the penguin back. I loved it in The Sims 2. I liked how you could pet it, you could feed it fish if you want to, and it could also react to any snow pals that were built on the lot. So that would be a nice thing to have. Again, I know people love penguins. yeah, that would be great. The caves that I mentioned, I guess, would be rabbit holes. Though it would be nice if you could at least visibly see some of the inside of the cave and walk inside it, and then once you go deeper into the cave, then that's the rabbit hole. But more realistically, they probably would just recolor the cave from Island Living so that it fits a more wintry environment, and change the text and the outcomes so that there could be some different buffs that you get and some different objects and collectibles maybe, but nothing really that more interesting than that. With the Yeti, I could imagine them recycling the roar interaction from when your Sims are in the bear costume, but I hope that the Yeti could do some other things as well. At least have some of the benefits that Bigfoot had in The Sims 2, where Bigfoot had all of his skills maxed out already and be able to move up the career ladder pretty easily. Though The Sims 4 is already pretty easy as it is, but if we're going to go with a supernatural creature, then there should be a little bit of a cheaty aspect, I guess. The Yeti could also have a couple of exclusive social interactions, like the Bigfoot hug from The Sims 2, and maybe they could also, if you have cats and dogs, 1 or 2 special interactions with pets. It could be a variation of the pet interaction where maybe the dog or cat is initially scared of the Yeti and reels back in fear, but then they would realize, oh, this Yeti is actually friendly, and then they let the Yeti pet them. So while I think that overall this should be a game pack instead of an expansion pack, if we're going to go all out, they should do more than what is on the survey, And I mean, with the surveys, they are meant to just give a broad idea instead of outlining each and every feature that they would do, since it is mainly theoretical and just to gauge the interest of players. Before I end this video though, I do want to suggest a few more activities that they could do in this theme. So I did mention skiing earlier, but what about cross-country skiing and not just downhill skiing? I think that could be another pretty essential activity to have at a winter resort. And snowmobiling could be kind of interesting. It could be a bit similar to aqua zips, except on land, where you could have the option to add all of these crazy upgrades like the stereo and fireworks coming out of it. And they could take the snowmobile out on the trail, and maybe they could do some tricks along the way if they have a high fitness skill. And as a side note, if bikes are ever added to the game, it should be possible to take bikes out on the trails during the summer months. It would also be nice if sledding was possible. That would be especially great for the kids. So you could have 1 or 2 bunny hills made for them so that you don't have them running into snowboarders and skiers. And thinking about bunny hills just made me realize how funny it would be if it was possible for us to have an active part-time career as a ski instructor. I think there should also be ice fishing. It wouldn't be that different from normal fishing, it's just that you would be fishing through holes in the ice that are already placed down in the world. And finally, I think there should be a few new recipes. I was thinking maybe a couple new varieties of soup and some varieties of hot chocolate. Maybe certain ones could boost certain emotions or skill boosts and stuff like that, so it's not just, oh, drinking the hot chocolate and getting really nothing much out of it unless you happen to have seasons so that you can warm up a sim after coming in from the cold. One of the recipes could perhaps boost the flirty emotion, because I'm just imagining this story here where you have some newlyweds who are on a honeymoon together and they start off their night by drinking some hot chocolates in their honeymoon suite, and that just gets them in the mood to do, you know, their other romantic activities. And that's pretty much it. Wow, I was not expecting this video to be so long, but I guess that does prove in the end that there's a whole lot that they could do with a ski resort theme. It was something that I was thinking, okay, would make a lot of sense as a game pack, but if they were to do at least most of the things that I mentioned, they would need to spend a lot of the budget on some new technology so they could have things like built-in slopes into the new world so that you could have believable ski slopes and just like all the other features that I suggested, and all the ways to like rent out homes and stay at homes and resorts. Yeah, it could still be a pretty involved pack. So even though this idea seems a little niche for a full-blown expansion pack, if they had it as one of the final packs for the game, then maybe it would make more sense, because there's definitely things that we should still get first, like university and farming. But it still might be a nice sort of pack to save towards the end where we have more of the essential things that should be in the game. So let me know what you think of this idea in the comments section below. And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!